Okay, so let's talk about that big international move you're thinking about. It's exciting, right? A brand new chapter. But I want you to reframe this for a second. This isn't just a long vacation. This is a merger. In fact, it might be the single biggest merger and acquisition deal of your entire life. Let's really dig into what that means. So here's the real question you have to ask yourself. Are you approaching this next chapter as just a beautiful dream? Or are you looking at it with your eyes wide open to the strategic risks involved? Because honestly, the difference between those two mindsets is everything. And here's why that mindset is so crucial. Let's put a number on it. A failed relocation can easily cost upwards of €500,000. And we're not just talking about the money you spend. We're talking lost income, emotional burnout, and the insane cost of having to completely reboot your life all over again. The stakes, they are incredibly high. Which brings us right back to the core idea of this whole framework. You have to treat your life transition like a corporate merger. And that means approaching your future with the exact same level of strategic rigor you'd bring to your most important business deal or investment, no less. I mean, just think about it for a second. In your professional life, you would never, ever commit millions to a corporate merger based on some vague feeling or a glossy brochure, would you? Of course not. You demand due diligence, a risk analysis, a rock-solid strategic plan. The same exact principles have to apply to merging your entire life. Now, let's build on this idea of risk, because the biggest risks, the ones that can really blindside you, they don't always show up on a financial statement. We need to talk about the unseen balance sheet and all the incredibly valuable assets you could end up liquidating if you go in without a plan. And that's what we call your human capital. These are those powerful, non-financial assets that really define your quality of life. Things like your professional network, your personal identity, your health, your key relationships. This is your personal balance sheet, and you could argue it's way more valuable than your financial one. So let's break that human capital portfolio down. You've got 4 key parts. That's your reputation, your professional standing, your sense of who you are. Social capital, your entire network, friends, mentors, colleagues. Relationship capital, the strength of your marriage, your family, your core partnerships. And finally, wellness capital, your physical and mental health, your resilience. A huge move puts every single one of these on the line. So, how in the world do you protect these priceless assets? Well, the key is making a huge shift. It's about moving away from making a life-altering decision based on assumptions and moving toward a framework that's built on hard data. It is literally about replacing hoping with knowing. And this slide just nails that transformation. The typical way is on the left, right? It's all assumptions about the new country, vague dreams about how much better life will be, and a whole lot of just hope. A strategic approach gives you what's on the right: objective data, a crystal clear strategic intent, and even a quantifiable score to help guide your decision. It's a total game changer. So, what you really need is what this quote says: a formal board meeting for your life. The whole point is to sit down and review the unvarnished, data-driven findings from a deep personal audit so you can make the absolute best decision, totally free from emotion and wishful thinking. And look, this isn't just some abstract idea. This can be a structured, strategic process. Let's actually look at how a methodology like this can architect your success step by step, all while de-risking the entire venture from start to finish. A really solid framework usually has 3 distinct phases. First up, the strategic audit. That's where you do all the due diligence to get to a clear go or no-go decision. Next, the transition blueprint, where you actually design the architecture of your new life. And finally, the activation playbook, which is your detailed operational plan for making it all happen. And you can see that flow right here. The journey kicks off with a super deep dive into due diligence, the audit. If the decision is a go, then you move into the strategic design phase, and it all wraps up by creating that concrete execution plan. It's a really logical flow from if we should do this to how we're going to do it. So at the end of a process like this, the outcome isn't just some fuzzy feeling of clarity. No, it's a set of tangible, high-value, strategic assets. You can think of it as your personal playbook for a successful transition. The master deliverable here is often a life transition playbook, and this thing is packed. It includes your personal due diligence report, a formal partner agreement charter to make sure you and your spouse are totally aligned, a detailed 90-day integration roadmap for when you land, a risk register to handle challenges down the road, and, this is critical, A repatriation blueprint, that's your exit strategy. So you are always, always in control. And let's be absolutely clear about what this is. This is not life coaching. It's a strategic advisory engagement. The investment you make isn't a cost. It's an insurance premium against that €500,000 mistake and the totally incalculable cost of a failed transition. So I'll leave you with one final question to think about as you plan your future. Are you just going to hope that your transition works out for the best, or are you ready to become the architect of your own success?